So welcome back, and we're now up to module number 3, which is all about your hotel website, which is the core of all of your marketing activities. You must have a dominant, well-performing hotel website to make any gains in the hotel industry in this day and age. And it's what we call the magnetic digital shopfront, getting you to go from an online brochure, if you've already got a website currently that's just sitting there with words and pictures on it, to actually become a booking machine for you, something that actually engages people and moves them through the process of making a booking decision and ultimately booking direct with your hotel. So this is really, really important, this module number 3, on the first step, which is all about what we call the front desk focus, the first in a massive 3-step system. So your hotel website, let's get into it. The first thing I want to actually share with you, and I guess I'm constantly trying to shift your mindset a little bit so you're thinking differently, and I want you to think about your hotel website as a virtual shopfront in terms of comparing it to old school retail. So what I'm saying here is that old school retail was very much a situation where you had a shop, you opened the doors, you presented your wares, you had some customers come through the door, you engaged with those customers, and potentially, hopefully at some stage, made a sale. Well, I just want to do an analogy between old school retail and modern hotel business, in the terms of that your hotel website is effectively what used to be a retail shopfront. And there's some analogies that we can draw upon here that I want to go through with you now. So I've put together this little diagram, which I'll probably do a better one for you one day, but for now this tells the story. So it's retail versus web, specifically comparing retail to the hotel industry. So the first analogy or comparison I want to draw is here that in old school retail, it was very much about opening the doors and managing the shop. You had to be there at set hours of the day, you had to be relied upon, you had clear opening hours, and you would turn up, man the shop, do what you can do in that day, close her up and go home, because you can't work 24/7. Well, the difference is here, 2 things. One is that you are now open 24/7. People can book you at any tick of the clock if we get it set up right. And the second part is, rather than being tied to a store and having to manage it on a daily basis for 8 or 9 or 10 hours, this is very much a hands-off situation. If we set it up right and get it automated, it will just take care of itself. It's about investing into the website, getting it set right, getting the bookings flowing through without you having to do any day-to-day operational management and having to be there. So it's this difference between being there to being very much hands-off and 24/7. The second analogy is in any retail business all around the shopfront, having an appealing window display and trying to attract the attention of people. So that's very relevant still in what you're doing with your virtual shopfront, your hotel website, and the fact that it's first impressions count. So what's the first thing that people see when they land on your webpage? And even a step back from when they land on your webpage, how do they find you in the first place? And we talk about this later in this module and in future modules about search engine optimization and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, you've got to have that stuff right. People have got to A, be able to find you, and B, be attracted to you to actually want to stay on their site a little bit longer and have a look. So the analogy between having a good looking retail shopfront, putting attractive products and offers and things in the window to actually get people to engage with you in the first place. In the retail sense, to get them to step into your store. In a hotel website sense, to get them to your homepage and go, oh, okay, I might pause here a little bit longer. So that's the second part of the analogy. The next part is, well, it used to be, market, or it says there, market, promote and hope. Well, there's very much that, but we tie it back to foot traffic and how much traffic you get into your store. So in a retail sense, you might advertise in the paper, you might advertise in any sort of capacity to get people through your store. Signs out in the street, back to the shopfront, the window display analogy. But the goal is to get foot traffic through the store. Because if we get the foot traffic in there, we know that a certain number of people will transact and actually buy something, assuming you've got some reasonable products at some reasonable prices there. Well, when it comes to the hotel website, it's much more targeted and much more measurable. There's so many tools available now that you can actually see. I guess if I backtrack a little bit, the comparison is we get 100 people through the retail shopfront, and maybe we can calculate over time that for every 100 that go through, 5 might buy something. But how do we know exactly what's working? That's just a simple ratio. Whereas in a website sense, we can actually track what pages on the website they're going to, what's appealing, what's working, and what flows through and tracks to an actual sale. So the ability to target people to your website, to track where they go within your virtual store, and see where the transactions take place, see what leads them to a transaction. The possibilities are immense. So it's much more powerful in the sense of running a virtual shopfront as opposed to an old school retail shopfront. The next one there is we've got stock shelves versus live availability. Now, in brief sense, that's what it is, but there's more to it than that. It's about having fantastic products on the shelf, beautifully presented. So once people are in the store, they're walking around going, wow, this is really nice, I'm engaged, I like it, I'm being evoked emotionally, and I'm thinking about how this might apply to me in my situation, and how I'm imagining me purchasing that product and taking it home. In the virtual shopfront, the hotel website example, it's no different. You need to present your rooms really, really well. You need to have beautiful imagery, preferably videos to do tours of the rooms or the facilities there. Icons instead of words to actually, pictures tell a better story than words will ever do. All these little things which we'll talk about later in this module about your website. But you've got to present your products really, really well. But here's the kicker for me is that if you've ever been to a retail shop, and as beautiful as it may or may not be, if there's no ticket pricing on the shelf, you tend to gloss over and you just go, you know what, I'm not even going to ask how much it is, even if you really love it. So unless you absolutely want that product, then you'll go and ask. As opposed to if that shop had price tags, you're actually making decisions along the way. You're going, oh, that's really nice, oh, but it's really expensive, out of my budget, I'll look at this one. Oh, that's more in my budget, I like that. So you're making more of a decision rather than sort of shutting the door on it. And I'm hoping that makes sense. The key overlay to the hotel website is that, yes, present your product beautifully, but people are in the moment when they're on your website. They want to know, not only it's beautiful, they also want to know, A, if it's available when they need it, and B, how much. They need to see that as soon as possible with as much ease as possible. And so it comes down to having live rates and availability on your site. And if you haven't got a booking engine on your website, I'm just not talking a static listed price, I'm talking live rates and availability, you are cutting yourself short. You are that store with beautiful stuff that nobody knows the price of and they just walk away. So you need to get not only have your product presented beautifully, you need to have it with live rates and availability. Customer service, so old school retail, if you had great customer service, typically you would do really, really well in retail, and people would rave about you and send friends there, and away you go. So customer service is very much a personal interaction there. So how does that relate to a hotel website? How can you provide good customer service on a website? Well, the answer is it comes down to 2 terms we'll talk about later in this module. It's called user experience and usability. The difference being user experience is how they feel when they're on your website. Usability is how easy it is to navigate around your website and do the actions that you're trying to lead them to do. So user experience and usability is the equivalent to customer service in old school retail. And the final area, or the final comparison we draw from retail to your hotel website, your virtual shopfront, is I guess what we call making the sale. So at the end of the day, at some point, you want people to not only be attracted to your store, but come into the store, browse around, hang around it for as long as possible, pick up a product and take it to the checkout and actually make that purchase, and you get the sale. That's the goal. In a hotel website sense, it's the whole experience. We talked about user experience and usability just in that last section. But a couple of things that you can do there is obviously don't put any roadblocks in front of people that want to go from the rack out the front straight to the checkout. So if somebody gets to your website and goes, yes, that's for me, let's not make them jump through a whole stack of hoops and go, oh, I like the property. Oh, where's the rooms? Select the room. Oh, now where do I go to the checkout? Where do I find that button? How do I then, what information do I need to put in? How many roadblocks do you really have to put in front of them if they just want to move through and make the sale in our regards, but make the booking for you? So we need to make it easy. So things like having the book now button, or whatever you want to call it, available everywhere on the page, always visible on the page. So whether it's in the top margin, which is a fixed margin and it's always visible, or you just got it populated as people are scrolling through your pages, it's always there to book now. So if and when they're ready to book now, bang, it's right in front of them. We don't have to put a roadblock in front of them to get there. And so it's all about, the conversion rate. So the fewer roadblocks we put in front of them, the easier we make it, and the faster, with the fewest clicks that we make it to get to the checkout, the higher our conversion rates will be. So that's the analogy there, and I hope that helps you get your head around, an old school thought process around how businesses were traditionally run in a retail sense, and how your hotel website is really your retail store, just in a very virtual sense. Because you're not sitting on Main Street, but you're sitting anywhere right across the globe, and you can attract anyone at any time. And if you get your hotel website set up, it is going to be the key. It'll be gold to the performance of your accommodation business. So get your head around that one, and we'll move into the next section, which is all around changes in user behaviour.